And a very, very warm welcome back. Salarah here. And I'm super excited to share today's episode with you. It's actually part of chapter 10 of my new book, which is coming out next year. And all this chapter is centered around how we hold ourselves back by avoiding and by spiritually bypassing. And today we're going to take a little bit deeper dive into that, because I believe that at the heart of our healing, our manifestation, the activation of the law of attraction in our life, it's the moments when we think we're growing, but we're actually bypassing, we're actually avoiding something else. And it can be so sneaky. Avoidance can wear so many different disguises. Sometimes it can look like some kind of stoic strength. Other times it can actually look like positivity, which you think, well, that surely isn't an avoidance technique. I'll explain more as we go. But sometimes it can even look like some kind of spirituality. And there's a psychologist called John Wellwood. He called this spiritual bypassing. And it's when we use spiritual or self-development ideas to rise above our pain instead of moving through it. So if you've ever wondered why the things that you want in life kind of feel a little bit out of reach, or how you don't really get consistent results in your manifestation practice, or perhaps even why you just keep looping through the same emotional patterns time and time again, the chances are that there's a little bypassing happening underneath. And here's the thing. Avoidance and spiritual bypassing and any other names associated with something similar, it doesn't mean that we're failing in any way at all. It just means that there's a part of our psyche that is still in protection mode. It's still trying to keep us safe. And I know I go on a lot about our nervous system and the role that it plays in what we experience in life and all the good that we experience, and perhaps even all the stress that we keep experiencing as well. It's our nervous system's way of keeping us safe. Because remember, even success is unfamiliar to our nervous system. Even though it's something good and it's something that we all want to experience, it's still unfamiliar. When there's something unfamiliar, especially when we're in survival mode, it's going to take success as a threat. Now, the moment you become aware of any bypassing or any kind of avoidance that you might be doing, everything is going to shift for you. So this is super exciting. When you start understanding and seeing how these different phases of avoidance show up, that's when it's going to be a game changer for you in your life. So as we evolve, the more we walk along our pathway, the more tools that we use, our avoidance also evolves with us. And yet it hides behind things like positive thinking, endless self-improvement, signing up for constant workshops or courses, or devouring every single book, or, as I mentioned before, even can show up as faith itself. And all of this is a really powerful method and effort on our ego's part, if you like, to stay within what is familiar. Now, for those of you who maybe cringe at the word ego, I have a lot of compassion and love for all the egos, because I know that an ego is born from hurt and pain, and it's our underdeveloped strategy, if you like, of keeping us safe. So remember, whenever I mention that, I actually have a lot of care and a lot of love for that part of me, certainly, that kept me safe for so many years. But I don't know about you. I don't want to just be safe all the time. I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive, which means it's important I become aware of that part of me and its strategy to keep me safe so I can transcend through it. And that's my hope and my aim for you today. You may notice in the way that you analyze emotions, maybe, rather than actually feel them. So you're more in your head with them, trying to figure them out, trying to puzzle them out, trying to make sense of them. Or you may see it in the pressure to stay calm or, be the bigger person. Some people may also spot it, as I said, like the spiritual masks that we can sometimes wear. Some people might hear it as the love and light brigade, or we'll just send them love and light. That's a form of bypassing, believe it or not. But also we might say things like, oh, well, everything happens for a reason, or No, it's okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. I used to say I am fine so much. So I'm going to have to just pause on this one for a moment. How many times have you said I'm fine when in actual fact, maybe you're feeling upset, annoyed, angry, or perhaps you're just feeling poorly? No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I heard once that fine stands for feelings inside not expressed. So it means there's something else going on under the surface that we're kind of bypassing, if you like, avoiding, or we're skirting over. Because sometimes we don't really know how to connect to that deeper part of us. We don't even know that saying the words, I'm fine, is bypassing something underneath. But the game does change when we are willing to look beneath those kind of masks and see that there's something much more human, much deeper underneath it, trying to protect us, trying to keep us safe. And a lot of the time, this is born from some kind of fear. Fear of vulnerability, fear of rejection, fear of losing control, fear of maybe being overwhelmed, fear of being seen in your full emotional spectrum. And these patterns, so these bypassing patterns, remember, it does not mean that there's something wrong with you. It does not mean that you're failing. It's a protective mechanism of that part of us that is trying to keep us safe. And like I said, can keep us safe, but it's also going to stop us from experiencing the life that we are really ready and wanting and deserving to live. Once you are able to spot those parts of you, once you see them, then you can begin to meet them with gratitude for keeping you safe and getting you to where you are now, but also meeting them with honesty and compassion instead of judgment. And that's where the game changes, and that's where growth really begins. So we're going to look at some common faces of avoidance. We're going to look at some common ways that we may spiritually bypass, if you like. And once we become aware of these, that's when we can start to change what we do and how we show up. And that's when you're going to start to notice that you get different results as well. So some of the ways that we avoid will show up. Now, some of these are going to be familiar as well, by the way. And remember, this is not about judging yourself. This is about being open and willing to learn something that is going to help you unlock your next level. So are you ready for number one? Can I have a little bit of a drum roll, please? That's going to have to be myself drum rolling over here. I haven't quite figured out how to do the drum roll on this platform yet. So here we go. And number one is toxic positivity. Who would have ever thought that positivity could be toxic? But a positive outlook on life, it's definitely beautiful. And yes, it's important. And yes, it's powerful. But when it's used to avoid discomfort, that's when it becomes toxic. So emotions like anger and jealousy, sadness, shame, and guilt, and much more, they're all completely natural. And when we don't allow ourselves to be honest with ourselves about having these feelings and allowing ourselves to work through these feelings, where these feelings maybe come from, and heal that part of us that has used those feelings as a coping strategy, and we don't allow ourselves to feel them, that's when we repress them. Now, remember, part of the great things that we can experience in life are quite often seen through the lens of our own emotion. So if we are looking at the world through the lens of suppressed anger, suppressed shame, suppressed guilt, suppressed jealousy, suppressed depression, whatever it might be, we're only going to see limited availability in the lens that we view our world through, because we don't see the world as the world is. We see the world through the lens of our own emotions. So when we repress them in this kind of toxic positivity way, it may be something that helps us cope in the moment, but long term, it is not going to get you the results that you want. And being a healthy, authentic human, it absolutely means allowing space for all of it, for all the light aspects, all the heavy aspects, and all the aspects in between. I mean, obviously, how we channel and work through our anger and our guilt and our shame is also a very important part of this. There are very healthy ways that we can work through those and not just let rip and create a massive tsunami of hurt and pain in our pathway. When we come to this journey with reverence and a willingness to take ownership and work through it in a way that keeps us and all those around us safe, that's again when the game changes. But remember, this happy, clappy, Pollyanna, pretending to cope. Oh, stop it. Just think positive thoughts. No, just think positively. Don't let yourself go there. Remember, think positive, or forcing yourself to stay positive and shutting your feelings down when you're struggling. It may seem harmless in the moment, but I promise you that comes at a cost. It absolutely invalidates your own experience and sends a message to your subconscious mind that your feelings don't matter, that you don't matter. I know this sounds a bit dramatic, but it's true. It's like there's going to always be a part inside of us that feels unheard, seen, validated, and that has a knock-on effect to our self-esteem. And over time, this creates an internal blueprint, but not an internal blueprint to build the life of your dreams on. An internal blueprint that keeps you feeling stuck. You'll end up feeling that your needs are less important than others, and you'll probably feel that you have to overcompensate, or you have to settle for less, or just stay quiet just to keep the peace. Oh, no, don't say anything. Oh, no, don't do that. And then we just end up tiptoeing and walking on eggshells for most of our life. But on a deeper level, like I said, it reinforces the belief that love, care, or attention has to be earned. We have to people please. We have to be the good girl or the good boy, rather than that inherent feeling of deservability. And yes, all of this comes from toxic positivity. So when you approach life with that constant happy, clappy outlook, you skim across the surface rather than experiencing the depth. And then you also unintentionally invalidate others along the way, by the way. So when you respond to their pain in the same way with a quick reassurance or quick distractions or skirting over or dismissing, it leaves those that we love and care about also feeling unseen, also feeling unheard, saying that their feelings don't matter. And it goes on and on. When maybe what they really need, or maybe what we really need too, is that feeling of presence and safety in expressing our feelings. Because when we feel, we heal. So that's your first one. You ready for the second one? I've been in all of these, by the way, hence being able to authentically talk about them. So the next one, number 2, is only looking for the lessons. If you've been on this journey for a long time, you know that there are always lessons in everything. Everything is an opportunity to grow. Everything is an opportunity to transcend. But if we try and get there too fast and we try and skip straight to the lesson by wanting to find the meaning before allowing ourselves to actually feel, this is when there is an issue again. And like I said, I know this pattern well. I used to do it all the time. Any moment that discomfort arose, I would just jump straight into reflection mode, asking myself, okay, well, what is this here to teach me? I just wanted to get it out the way so that I could move and unlock the next level. But by bypassing my experience and by bypassing my feelings, by jumping straight to the lesson, that's when everything started feeling like it was harder, and I would quite often feel stuck. So when you rush to analyze or spiritualize your pain in any way, you bypass the very emotions that hold the key to your healing. Because from a law of attraction perspective, it's always about feelings. As Andy Dooley says, it's feeling first and then your manifestation. But if we are full with loads of repressed and suppressed emotions energetically, we're going to be pretty heavy, and we are not going to be able to magnetize all the things that we want to experience in life, because our emotion our emotional body is too dense. So all emotions, whether they are right at the top, that feeling of playfulness and lightheartedness and joy, or those really heavy feelings like depression and anxiety, they all exist to serve you. And when you give them space to move through you without any judgment, without trying to skirt over, without trying to distract yourself or run away from them, you're going to build trust within yourself and within your body. And there's nothing more powerful than having that trust within yourself and in your body for your nervous system to relax, and for then there's a strong, solid foundation for you to build your life upon. Until then, it's just like building a house on sand. So true insight only really arises when the emotion has been witnessed until it has been felt. The lesson doesn't come instead of feeling these. It comes because you allowed yourself to. I remember ringing a mentor of mine a good few years ago, and I was going through quite a heavy challenge, which evoked a lot of emotion in me. And this was when I was kind of wanting to get straight to the lesson because I wanted to try and bypass these heavier feelings. And he said to me, and quite rightly too, he said, you know what? Let's talk in 2 weeks' time. And let's talk once you've had an opportunity to sit with the discomfort of your feelings. When you've had the opportunity to let yourself feel the deepest, darkest depths of the pain that you're experiencing, he said, then you'll be ready to look at what the lesson is. And this is what many of us do. Now, it's understandable that we do that, right? Because actually feeling and experiencing emotions, especially if it's alien to you, it can be daunting. It can be scary. You can think, well, what's going to happen if I open the floodgates? It's never going to stop. I hear that a lot in my coaching practice, by the way, and I promise you it does stop. It's just important that you don't try and push them under the rug. Imagine years and years and years of putting all the dirt and all the leaves in your garden and in your house under the rug in your house. It's going to be massive, and you're going to trip up pretty much every time. So that's the second one. And I'd be really interested to know which one is speaking to you the most, by the way. I would absolutely love to hear from you. I know I have most of my listeners over in the USA. It'd be so nice to hear from you. Follow me on Instagram, send me a message. Let me know which one resonates the most with you, which one you are going to work on in order to unlock your next level. Of course, my next biggest audience is the UK, but I love knowing that I'm reaching all the corners, whether it's New Zealand, Vietnam, and everywhere in between. It's so lovely that you join me, and thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Which moves me to number 3. And this one is playing the victim. You may have heard of the victim archetype. I didn't even know that it was a thing. I came to realize that for many years I was very much in my victim mode. And it's that part of us that feels absolutely powerless when something or someone triggers an old wound. In those moments, it's so easy to slip into blame mode. In fact, again, it's a defense mechanism. It's another protection mechanism. So it's not that there's something bad or wrong with us. Oh, he or she's such a victim. No, no, no. We're not going to go down that road. Remember, it's a way that we subconsciously keep ourselves safe because the pain underneath is so big and so deep. So this absolutely calls for empathy and compassion to ourselves first and foremost. But in those moments when we are hurt, it's very easy just to slip into blame mode or get defensive and maybe focus on what the other person did instead of what's being stirred within us. We push it away because it's so uncomfortable. Instead of asking, well, what part did I play in the creation of this? What is my responsibility within this? And when we stay in that victim consciousness for too long, again, we're avoiding that deeper truth. we're stopping ourselves from feeling the pain that is sending us into what we call victim mentality. And the deeper truth is usually underneath that we either feel like we're wrong, we're a bad person, that we don't matter. And quite often, especially in my coaching practice, when somebody mentions to me a trigger that they've experienced from someone else, and I ask them, when that person did that, what did it make you feel about yourself as a person? And quite often this is hard to get to because people aren't used to this kind of level of inquiry. But I highly recommend working with that as much as possible, because quite often what I hear is, well, I just felt like there was something wrong with me, or I felt like I didn't matter, or I felt like I wasn't important. And that's why we're so triggered, because belief patterns from our past are activated in that moment. And then it's much easier to make the other person bad or wrong and become the victim instead of facing those deeper wounds within ourselves. So whenever we are triggered, we are simply being shown where old pain is still being asked to be met and healed inside of us. And this is work that I have done with thousands of people over the years. If you're ready to really take a deep dive on these kind of things where you want to understand your deeper patterns, you want to understand these limiting beliefs that are kind of running the show and showing up as some of these behaviors, please reach out. I'd love to hear from you. And we can have an initial consult call just to see if I can help. And then if I can then give you some more details on how we can work together one-to-one. Until these wounds are acknowledged, until these limiting beliefs are acknowledged, until they are seen, heard, felt, and released, the same button will keep being triggered. But once you get to that healing and that button is deinstalled in your being, it will no longer have power over you, and you will no longer be experiencing the same pattern and cycle. You'll be free from that. Now, of course, there's deeper conversations around trauma. I highly recommend that you find an expert in anything specific to trauma you may have experienced. This is by no means any advice or any medical advice. I do have years and years of my own experience and years of helping people. If I can't help you, I will absolutely signpost you to somebody that can. I'll just put my phone on silent. I'll make sure we can have a conversation, and if I'm not the right person for you, I'll definitely be able to signpost you in the right direction. Because remember, healing and personal power begin the moment that you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And instead ask, why is this happening for me? What is this showing me about myself? What opportunity is this bringing me to heal? And that shift in perspective is going to change absolutely everything. And this is where your life is going to start responding differently. And that's because you are responding differently. A nice deep breath. Oh, I really would love to know which one of these are speaking to you. Another big one I notice, definitely had myself, but I notice in many people that I work with, is number 4. And this is being the rescuer. So you might find yourself constantly taking care of everyone else's needs and probably holding a fair bit of resentment that your needs aren't being met. So you're helping everyone else, but you're quietly neglecting your own. And yeah, it can feel loving and it can feel noble and it can feel good. But sometimes staying busy, rescuing others becomes a quiet and subtle way of avoiding yourself, of avoiding your emotions. And it's so easy to confuse rescuing with caring. And there's so many conversations we can have around this, with feeling guilt if we don't do what other people want us to do. There's another conversation around that called enabling, that actually when we rescue somebody time and time again, we're disempowering them time and time again. We're basically telling them that they're not able to do these things for themselves, that we have to do it for them because they're not capable. So we instill that message. But also we stop them from experiencing great life lessons. We stop them from experiencing their own healing, from finding a pathway that works for them. Quite often we think our path is the only path. And although we may have experienced some powerful teachings and had some really powerful breakthrough moments, remember, it's different strokes for different folks. What works for one may not necessarily work for another. So true care empowers, and rescuing disempowers. And when you rush in to save somebody, you may unintentionally be taking away their opportunity to grow their strength, their opportunity to grow their resilience, to become wiser themselves. And if rescuing has become your default, then it's important to bring gentle awareness to it. But you can also ask yourself, what is the real motivation behind your need to rescue someone else? Is it compassion? And yeah, there's always going to be a part. Nobody likes seeing anybody in pain. But it can also be a way to feel needed, to feel valued, to feel safe. And often the part of you that wants to rescue others is mirroring the part of you that also longs to be rescued. And when that part finally feels seen by you, the impulse to fix others is absolutely going to soften, and space opens for deeper and truer connection with that person and way less resentments towards them. The amount of times we do all of these things for people and then they don't listen to any of the advice, or, resentment grows. And the final one, and this is a good one. So this is number 5. Now, you might see yourself in 1 or 2 or 3, or you might be like me and you've seen yourself in all of these, and that's okay. Just pick one that you are going to start working on. We can always come back to the rest another time. This is taking the moral high ground. And when somebody hurts you, it's so easy to slip into that kind of self-righteous mode. And you just tell yourself, well, that's okay. I'll just be the bigger person, or karma will sort them out or sort it out. It sounds mature, doesn't it? Sounds spiritual, but quite often it's a quiet way of saying, I don't feel safe enough to express my pain and how I feel about what has happened in this situation. And again, I'm so surprised how many people that I work with that have switched off their feeling and live so much in their head as part of ancestral or societal conditioning and programming not to feel. But if you are on a pathway where you want to unlock unstoppable magnetism, lead a life that lights you up, and you can experience more feelings of peace and joy and laughter and playfulness and creativity and everything else available. If you can't feel now, or you don't let yourself feel the lower vibrational moments or feelings, you're not going to feel the higher vibrational feelings either. And again, remember, while the intention in all of this is, of course, to protect yourself, it's also a form of avoidance. And it just keeps the wound alive. And those same triggers, they're just going to keep resurfacing until the deeper emotions underneath have been felt and heard and healed. So real strength doesn't come from rising above the pain and being the bigger person. It comes from being willing to meet it with honesty, with vulnerability, and allowing the feelings to be felt and to move through you. And there's so many amazing experts in this field that can help with that. We're in an amazing age now where we have access to powerful practitioners in an instant. Years ago, I qualified as a Louise Hay Heal Your Life workshop facilitator. And having done so much inner child work and healing on myself and hundreds, if not thousands of people, this works. You're not alone. You don't have to do it on your own. It's important that you find a coach or a mentor or a practitioner or a therapist that you resonate with. And then it's giving yourself time with them to work through some of the stuff that's been coming up for you. One session here and then, and unfortunately and very annoyingly, it doesn't quite do it. It does mean we do have to be consistent within our healing work and practice. But the benefits are tenfold. So actually, I do have one more that I've written here. Sneaky. Well, this is a good one as well. And this might even feed into what I've just been saying as well. So it's chasing the next healing fix. In a world full of so much, ranging from crystals to sage to hypnotherapy to gong baths and you name it, it is easy just to chase the next magic pill, if you like, that promises transformation. Whether it's the latest course, the latest method, the latest retreat, another ceremony. Now, of course, these are all really good and they have their place. And these are not always about bypassing. This is where you need to be honest with yourself. Like, am I actually skimming the surface on these things, or am I actually allowing myself to go to the depth in these things? And like I say, these tools can be powerful, but the problem arises when they are used as a shortcut. So when you expect them to fix you instead of guiding you inward so that you can become your own healer and your own shaman and help learn tools to work with and fix yourself. Now, every healing modality has its benefits, but also remember it is a mirror. It reflects back to you what is ready to be met within you. And when you rely on a tool instead of your own awareness, the same patterns will just reappear, but they come in new forms. I don't know about you, but I had a similar pattern repeating in relationships or friendships, and it was exactly the same feeling, but the people were different, but the feelings were the same. And that'll just keep happening until we deal with the healing, and that's when we'll notice the patterns change. It's important to know that if you keep experiencing the same thing, it's because the emotional root has not been addressed yet. And remember that you are your medicine. And the real deep transformation happens when you stop chasing and you start feeling and integrating. And when you choose to meet what's there rather than seek what's next, that's when the game changes even more. And that's when we become aware of the part of us that is keeping us stuck in painful patterns and loops. So if one of these have spoken to you today, you'll know where to start your focus on. You'll know where you're bypassing. You'll know where you are avoiding. And yeah, I just become so excited for you because I know firsthand, and the people that I have worked with over the years, that this stuff works. Awareness is your doorway to your next level. Without awareness, we have nothing. And the moment that you can witness your patterns with compassion, that's when you are going to reclaim your power to choose differently. And many people, they don't even get that far or this far. They just stay in the story, waiting for change, waiting for the mountain to move, not realizing that they are standing on the path already. The cycle repeats until the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the fear of change. I certainly know that that's been true for me. And when that moment comes, it's sacred because it means you're ready to stop running from yourself. It means you're ready to surrender, to stop, to listen, to soften, to meet yourself in truth. And that's when your healing will fold more naturally, not because you've become someone new, but because you're finally remembering who you have always been. And this is coming home to yourself. And when I became aware of my own bypassing, I was shocked at how much I was bypassing. But when I became aware of it, I started to see the subtle ways that I had avoided feeling left, right, and center. I realized how much energy went into trying to stay in control, trying to hold it all together, instead of allowing myself to feel and heal and then become real. And like I said, for years, I blamed other people for my circumstances, for my unhappiness. But even when things changed, the same patterns, they just found their way back until I was willing to take this deeper look. So if you've made it this far into the episode, I just want you to know I really honor you. And no, this journey's not easy. Staying the same is not easy either. One way brings you feelings like peace and freedom and connection and love and abundance. The other way just takes you deeper into what you have been avoiding and deeper into your pain. So healing begins the moment you're willing to take responsibility for your part. And that's what makes this work so humbling and so human. And the goal here was never perfection, but it is about being willing, and it is about honesty, and it is about taking responsibility. It's about coming home to yourself one honest moment at a time. And when you meet yourself there in truth, in transparency, and in honesty, that's when your energy is going to shift. And that's when I get so excited. That's why I want to do a happy dance, because that's the key to unlocking powerful, positive manifestations in your life. And that's when you, my friend, become effortlessly magnetic. Because the law of attraction doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you feel safe enough to hold. So if you've been holding in your feelings for years, not feeling safe to express them, not feeling safe for them to be seen, not feeling safe for them to be heard, not feeling safe to be vulnerable, not feeling safe to be honest, your whole nervous system is wired out of fear. Your whole nervous system is wired to that feeling of lack of safety. So you may have been doing all the right things, but you still feel like something's missing. But maybe you're not blocked. Maybe you've just been protecting yourself from the very thing that is working so hard and trying to set you free. It's been lovely to be back with you. If today's episode has resonated, I will ask from my heart to yours to share it with somebody who really needs to hear this right now. And if you want to go a bit deeper, remember you can download your free energetic reset. So it's my little ebook to point you in the right direction of your next part of your healing. And of course, I've got loads of guided meditations on Insight Timer. I'm going to put all the links in the show notes. If you want to explore some one-to-one coaching, you can visit me at salarahstarre.com and fill out a contact form. And yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for all of your energetic contributions and all the conversations and support, whether it be here on Messenger or on Instagram or email, that just keep the conversations flowing. Until next time, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job. Remember, it's just one step. That's all. Just one step at a time. Take care. I'll be back with you same time next week. Take care for now.